call the special call council meeting of Monday, June the 21st, 2020, 6 p.m. to order. This is a special call council meeting prior to our other meeting at 7 on regular call council. This will be the special call. We'll follow that agenda, so we welcome everyone here tonight. Let the records reflect that all council members are present, with the exception of Mr. Black. I don't know if he's zoomed in or not.
He'll be zoomed in for the executive session.
That's the record law from the reflect, Mr. Madden, I see the administrators here, along with Cindy Miller, and various members of the public. Thank you. This time there's next order of business is new business. This will start coming up from economic development. Mr. Madden.
Thank you, Mayor. Move we enter executive session for consideration of contractual matter and economic development matter as allowed under code section 30-4-78(2).
There's 2 minutes on the same code. Okay. I have a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
I have a second from the stereo. We'll go with Greg. All right. Any discussion? All those favoring in executive session as stated by Mr. Madden, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, like sign. You're none, 6-0. We will return to the executive session upstairs at the conference room. We'll be back shortly. Thank you. Okay, we are returning from the executive session. Mr. Manning, would you like to report out, please?
Thank you, Mayor. Coming out of executive session at 7:16, no decisions were made, no votes were taken.
Thank you, sir. Next item is possible action on items discussed in executive sessions. Anything from there?
Mayor, I move that we authorize staff to enter into negotiations on the contractual matter discussed in executive session.
I have a motion to allow staff to enter into negotiations on the contractual matter we discussed. Is there a second? Second. Second. Mr. Reynolds. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed, like sign. Hearing none, the motion carries. Also, let the record, let the records reflect that Mr. Black joined us during the executive session. All right, we have had public comment. If there's any public comment concerning the special call session, never give us some shoot for that. If anyone would like to speak on the anything on the special call, there's a chance. Okay, hearing none, any council concerns? Hearing none, what does council consider for adjournment?
So moved.
Motion to adjourn, is it a second?
Second.
Second from Ms. Reynolds. I'm in the discussion, hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
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 We are adjourned from the special call city council meeting at approximately 7:18 p.m. The next item of this council meeting recess, we're okay with that. We're done. We're good. The next item for our consideration tonight is actually a public hearing for the sewer pump station fee. And we'll enter into a public hearing at this point in time. This is in reference to the sewer pump station fee at Indigo Point. So if you're coming down 276 and you get to the red light and take a left before you get to Dix Mayonnaise, that's Forest Drive. If you follow that down, if you get in the long straightaway, if you look off to the left, that's the new Indigo Point subdivision all through there. It requires a pump station, sewer pump station, which is a special, unique device, and that's about all I know. Before we get to that, I'll let Mr. Madden get more detail we need to.
No, that'd be good.
We'll go with that.
Yep.
All right, so we'll be into the public hearing. This is intended for anyone interested in making comments on the pump station at Indigo Point. So We didn't fill out a log, but if you do come up, please state your name and your address on that. If you'd like to speak, with the agenda we've got and the multiple issues doing now, we'll limit this, tonight to 3 minutes per speaker. So again, this particular topic is on Indigo Point Station, sewer station, lift station, pump station. So again, there's comments that you might want to make to this body to hear us, but it is a chance for the public to provide any information you would like to make on that. All I ask you is, be considerate. So if you make a point, the next speaker, if you want to make the same point, you might want to say, yes, I reinforce what he just said, he or she that way. All right. So please maintain proper decorum for the members of council, the speakers in the audience. No personal attacks on city members of council or city staff or members of the public are allowed. Don't use it as an inappropriate time to make political speeches or threats of political action. All right, I think this pretty much covers that. So anyone want to speak to a public hearing on Indigo Point? All right, if no one wants to speak on that, any comments from council concerns?
There are no speakers for or against. I move that we close the public hearing.
Okay, have a motion to close the public hearing.
Second.
Second, Mr. Reynolds. Any objection, any concerns? Hearing none, all those in favor of closing the public hearing, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, like sign. Hearing none, we will close the public hearing for the sewer pump station at approximately 7:21. Next item for us tonight is actually the record call city council meeting, of June 21st, at approximately 7:21 p.m. Let the records reflect that all council members are in attendance in the chambers. Mr. Black, Mr. Black is attending remotely, based on his extenuating circumstances. Mr. Black will be extending all the courtesies of being in attendance via remote Zoom and all the rights and privileges recorded to a duly elected official by the citizens of the city of Mauldin. So Mr. Black's there. Also, Mr. Madden, our city administrator, is present, along with our city Miller. Various department heads, appreciate what we did here, along with our city attorney, Mr. John Duke. Members of the media, join us tonight, so appreciate their attendance also. So with that said, we welcome Kip Hatson. Chamber's not here. We'll go to the next one, which is the invocation of Ms. Susan.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Let us pray, please. Heavenly Father, thank you for all of the many blessings you bestow upon us. Lord, I pray for all of those who are sick, injured, or going through difficult times, that you will bring comfort and healing to them. Thank you for loving us and forgiving us for our transgressions. Lord, there's so much going on in the world today that we do not understand. My prayer is that you will remind us always that we are not the judge and that we are to love one another despite our differences. I pray that you will keep our city, first responders, and citizens safe. Lord, please guide this council on the decisions we will make tonight. In Jesus' name I pray. Amen.
Amen.
I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
we got to do a welcome, also be sure to welcome our citizens. You're the reasons we're up here, so we certainly appreciate you attending. We're always welcome and appreciative of you coming and sharing your feelings and your comments with us on items that relate to the city of Mauldin and your homes and properties. So, if I forget that later on, I just want to say thank you for being here tonight, and always avail yourself of the opportunity to speak during the public comment sections. I'll get to that when we get to it. One of the nice features of this particular job up here is proclamations and presentations, and always value our public service and our public safety. I'll ask Ms. King should join me down front, along with Interim Chief Moore, or some very important proclamations.
More of Chief Miller.
No, you're good. Moore was the fire chief years ago, wasn't he?
You dated yourself, Mayor.
Mayor, Ms. King, Adrian Cordova wasn't here the last time, because he had an illness. But he's been with us for 5 years. He was right at the start. It was entrusted with training officer before he became a corporal or field training officer. He's a senior corporal in Alpha Squad. He's a future leader of this department. He's in Army Reserve, where he graduated from medical school. He has no one behind attitude. He's a great mentor to fellow officers. Our community.
Hold that tight, Lou. I'm here back there. Breakable.
God bless you. It has. Go get them, bro.
All right, for the second quarter of 2021, Officer Hodge has been selected by her supervisor, the supervisors on staff. She's been with the department nearly 3 years. She's primarily a road officer, but has volunteered to work in property evidence, dispatch, K9, and other divisions in the police department. She's a highly thought of by her peers and administrative staff in the police department. She's currently working on her master's degree. She has street smarts as well as book smarts. With a little more time, she's on track to be the first female police chief in Mauldin.
That's a huge compliment.
Fantastic. Oh, no problem, no problem.
Thank you. item before us is the reading and approval of minutes. City council meeting of May 17th, 2021. Pleasure of council.
Motion to approve as submitted.
Motion, Ms. King, is there a second?
Second.
Thank you, Mr. Patton. Any discussion, corrections, Mr. Rose?
Mr. Mayor, just a matter of record, I missed the last council meeting, so I want to go on the side.
Okay, thank you. All right, all those in favor of the minutes as submitted, say aye.
Aye.
5-0. Special call council meeting of June 7th, 2021, minutes as submitted, is there a motion?
Move for approval.
Second.
Second.
Mr. President. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor of the minutes as submitted, say aye.
Aye.
So, special call council meeting June 14th, 2021, pleasure of council.
Move for approval.
Motion, is there a second?
Second.
Second, Mr. President, any discussion, corrections, additions? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All right, the next item on our agenda is our public comment period. This period is reserved for those items that are on the agenda tonight. So you should have signed up, which I had in front of me. So same guidelines, we have your name, if you would, when you come to the podium and speak clearly in the microphone, state your name and your address for the record. You can speak on matters of the agenda. Tonight's meeting, again, as you've seen, the agenda is fairly long, so we'll please limit your comments to a maximum of 3 minutes. There'll be no sharing or ceding time to another member, the speaker. Probably the quorum must be observed by members of the council, speakers, and the audience. Please direct your comments to the chair, that's me. It is not an interactive session, so it's your opportunity to be heard and make your comments to the council. Members of the council, myself, will not engage in discussion back and forth. It would be inappropriate to use it for making political speeches and breast political action. Keep it civil, as I said earlier, type thing. We'd love to hear your comments and your actions. So tonight, the first person signed on the agenda item is Mr. Davenport. Is that on the rezoning issue? Is that the agenda item you want to speak to?
Wayne Davenport, 109 Beechwood Drive, Simpsonville. And I thought I was gonna get 3 hours, but we limited me to 3 minutes. What we wanna do here is show our opposition, myself and my neighbors, to the zoning of multifamily. We would like to ask for it to go for single family. There is a concern by traffic issue around the area. This property adjoins Highway 417, which is already very crowded. It's almost impossible to get out of our road, Beechwood Drive, during the day because all the traffic on Highway 417, and we're about 1/10 of a mile from the interstate. And one of the entrances from this property when it's developed is going to be about 100 feet or so from a red light right at the interstate. It is also going to be just a guesstimate of about 50 feet or less from the turn lane to the entrance on the interstate. And we believe, and we are told that it will be a right turn only out of that area or out of the road that's proposed. Okay, if you turn right and you're gonna go straight, you're already over where the lane is to get on the interstate. So we believe that cars will be stopping there to get over to go straight. We also believe that it's going to create a massive backup on Highway 417. Also, off of Beechwood Drive, there's a proposal for an abandoned road from the property mentioned here to come up Beechwood Drive, turn on Beechwood Drive, and go out on Highway 417. We believe that's also going to create a problem with traffic because we're being told one of the proposals will be, I think the popular proposal is townhomes and 3 apartment units. 3 apartment units containing approximately 150 apartments. And we know today that most people have 2 cars, so that puts approximately 300 cars there, plus the townhomes. And you're gonna have 2 entrances in and out, and one of those entrances can only turn right, the other one, at Beechwood Drive, you can go left or right. So we believe that, you add the townhomes in, could possibly be up to 500 cars or more on this property. So it's going to create a massive traffic jam right there at Beechwood Drive and at the proposed road now, which is the driveway to this property. And from what the developer has told us, they have talked to the state about a red light there, and there's no proposal or no, basically the state said no. We would like to know. So we don't know what it's going to take to solve this problem. We're certainly opposed to the way the roads are going to come in and out. That's why we're asking for a single family residency on this property rather than a multifamily. And also we want to express our objection to any Section 8 housing going on this property. And there's one other issue I would like to address that may or may not have anything to do with this property. There's an empty lot next between my house and my neighbor's house, and this property was just recently surveyed off, and it is in Greenville County. However, my question is, we were told it was being surveyed for the sewer, but if you line all the marks up, it is straight in line with all the property pins on this piece of property. And there's 2 marks out in the road and they're 40 feet apart. And we were told that the other proposed road, which is an abandoned road by the county, if they use it, they're gonna widen it out to 40 feet. And we are in belief that this may be for a road there, and we would like to know if there's any plans or has anybody filed to annex this in the Mauldin city limits for use to put a road in it. I called my next door neighbor that owns the property, and he has assured me he has not sold this property, and it is not sold. He's been approached several times about it, and he's very adamant about it not being taken for a road to go through it. If they do, it will put the road between my house and his house, which is about halfway around our neighborhoods. And then that's going to create a traffic jam on our road. We're a small community. The road is a circle. It's approximately 22 houses in there, one way in, one way out. So we're very concerned about that. We know that they're going to develop it, do something with it. There's 3 proposed plans. We don't know which one we're going with. And if it is zoned for multifamily, we do not know if the developer may even change his mind and put all apartments back there. We do not know. We don't have a solid answer to exactly what is going to be built back there. But our main concern is the traffic issue. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Davenport. This is the same topic, Mr. Johnson. Come up, state your name and address, please. This time I'll start the time. 3 minutes.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor. I'll make mine very short. Ron Johnson, 14 Hickory Twig Way, Simpsonville. I represent the owners of this property. We're obviously in favor of down zone, C2 to the residential multifamily. So I'll be here to answer any questions.
Thank you, Mr. Johnson. believe that's the only two items on the comments on the agenda items. So we'll hold the others for the second, third, toward the end of our agenda tonight. A report from our city administrator, Mr. Madden.
Mayor, members of council, want to give you an update on the ongoing search for city's police chief. As you know, the city has had a very involved process for recruiting a police chief. Updates can be found on the city's webpage. There's a dedicated webpage on the city's website to provide updates on where we are in the process of recruiting a new police chief. The past couple of months, we've held a public survey and also a community forum to seek input from members of the public on what they would like to see in their next police chief. To date, we received over 50 applications for the position. Those applications have been vetted by myself and the HR department. Right now, we're going through interviews of those candidates that met the qualifications. That will probably take us another 2 weeks. Once that process is complete, an executive committee team will be reviewing and interviewing applicants, and they will make recommendations on a shortlisted group to the Public Safety Committee for vetting. They will conduct interviews there. We'll have one more community input session once we have the finalists, whether it's 3 or 5. That community forum will allow the members of the public to come and view the candidates, listen to their background, and we will ask questions that members of the public submitted during the public survey, a group of those questions to the candidates that they can answer those. The public can see them and interact with them. Then from there, we'll provide a recommendation for a finalist for the position to the council. So I want to give an update. Ideally, this would be concluded by the end of summer. But given the magnitude of the position within the city and the amount of influence that position has, we want to make sure we're taking the time to vet all the candidates to get the very, very best person for the position. So I wanted to provide an update, and if you have any questions, feel free to let me know. That concludes my report.
Thank you, sir. Next report from standing committees, finance and policy, Mr. Reynolds, anything?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor Merritt. We've got a couple of things coming up towards the end of the meeting that will deal with the budget, other items, but I do want to thank Ms. King for stepping in my absence at the last council meeting. She filled in admirably as I went back and watched the meeting. I certainly appreciate you taking up my absence. That's all I have. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Mr. Reynolds. Public safety, Ms. King.
Nothing at this time, Mayor, thank you.
Thank you. Public works, Mr. Craig.
Leave it, son, thank you.
Thank you, sir. Economic planning and development, Mr. Mackey.
Beach and Fridays this Friday night.
Be there.
Little City. Thank you, sir. Building codes, Ms. Kuzma.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I just want to let everyone know that the Business and Development Services Department has new software. It was launched today, I believe, and so far looks pretty good. They're going to be taking all of the information from the old software and migrating it over to the new.
Recreation, Mr. Black.
Nothing at this time, Mr. Mayor. Thank you.
All right. Next item on our agenda is unfinished business ordinance second and final reading. No.
First item we have is an ordinance to rezone property consisting of approximately 43 acres located at South Carolina Highway 417 and Interstate Highway 385 and providing respective way. This property is on the other side of I-385 from McAfee.
This building development, Ms. Kuzma.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I understand, the opposition to this. But I believe at this time, I'm going to go ahead and make a motion, to approve the rezoning of Highway 417 and I-385, and rezone to RM multifamily residential.
I have a motion from Ms. Kuzner to, proceed with the rezoning on second reading to RM on property 417. Is there a second?
Second.
Yes, second from Mr. Black. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
Okay, 7 carries. All right, next, item E, Ms. Miller.
This item is an ordinance to rezone property consisting of approximately 6.1 acres located at Service Bay Road. This is where the After School Plus is. There's been a request to hold this in council and not have second reading tonight. I think they have some paperwork or something.
Ms. Kuzner.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. At this time, I'll make a motion to hold this in council until the owner, the applicant, can get everything in order.
Okay, I have a motion to hold the second. Second from Mr. Matney. Any discussion? All those in favor of the motion to hold this, on council for second reading, hold it on the floor, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, like sign. Hearing none, motion carries. C, Ms. Miller.
This is an ordinance to provide for the annexation of property owned by David M. Adams Sr. et al. And located at Ashmore Bridge Road near Fowler Circle by the 100% petition method, and to establish the zoning classification of R15 residential. This property is on the other side of Ashmore Bridge Road from the Maple Grove subdivision.
Ms. Kuzner.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. At this time, I make a motion to annex this property and rezoning on second reading.
I have a motion to annex and zone to establish the zoning of R15. Is there a second?
Second.
Second, Mr. Matney, any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those like sign. Hearing none, the motion carries. So,
This is an ordinance to amend section 21-4 and section 21-41 in the Mauldin Municipal Code, chapter 21, which is flood damage prevention.
Ms. Miller, back to you again. Ms. Kuzner.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. This is a text amendment to the flood damage prevention ordinance. It's to change the flood insurance study date in section 21-4 to May the 4th, 2021. And also to add reasonably safe from flooding to the wording in section 21-41. So I'll make a motion on second reading.
A motion, is there a second?
Second.
Mr. Black. Discussion. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, like sign. Hearing none, the motion carries. No.
Next is an ordinance to provide amended appropriations for the fiscal year beginning July 1st, 2020 and ending June 30th, 2021 for ordinary and other city purposes, to provide a levy of taxes on all taxable property in the city of Mauldin for all city purposes, including sufficient tax for any principal and interest on outstanding indebtedness maturing in the fiscal year, to provide for the expenditure of said taxes and other revenues coming to the city during the fiscal year.
This kind of weird finance, Mr. Rhodes.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I absolutely could not have said that better. I'd like to go ahead and make a motion to approve the appropriations as amended for starting July 1, 2021, carrying through June 30, 2022.
I think this is amended appropriations.
It is amended appropriations. Thank you. I was on the wrong. there, so I'd like to amend my motion. I knew I shouldn't have gone all digital. I'm trying to pass. Here, one idea.
You just want to hit.
So,
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'd like to go ahead and make a motion to approve the budget, the FY 21 budget amendment ordinance. It's item 7E, right?
yes. So the motion is to amend the appropriations from the fiscal year beginning July 1st, 2020 and June the 30th, 2024. Is there a second?
Second.
Have a second. Ms. King, is there any discussion? Point of clarification, what we're doing here is all during the year. There is additional things that come up that cause us to approve expenditures that wasn't either originally in the budget of when we approved it on July 1st, 2020, or it's made changes to it, that thing. So by law, we have to balance it, and Holly does a great job of tracking all this and keeping us on board. Before we run out of the year, we have to amend it to be sure it's all covered in there. She's made all the proper adjustments, and it's still in balance for the year we're getting ready to end at the end of this month. I stated that in terms of layman terms and financial terms.
Fantastic.
Way over my head. All right, so is there any more discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor of the motion to provide the amended appropriations for the fiscal year July 1st, 2020, ending June 30th, 2021, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, like sign. Hearing none, the motion carries. Keep scrolling down.
I'm there now.
No. You say it.
Next is an ordinance to provide appropriations for the fiscal year beginning July 1st, 2021 and ending June 30th, 2022 for ordinary and other city purposes, to provide a levy of taxes on all taxable property in the city of Mauldin for all city purposes, including sufficient tax for any principal and interest on outstanding indebtedness maturing in the fiscal year, to provide for the expenditure of said taxes and other revenues coming to the city during the fiscal year.
Do you, Mr. Rhodes?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Layman's terms, I'd like to make a motion for the adoption of the ordinance for the FY 2021 to 2022 annual operating budget.
This is second reading, I believe.
This is the second reading, Mr. Mayor.
All right. I have a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Second, Ms. King. Any discussion? Ms. King.
Go ahead, maybe say one else.
Chair, go ahead.
So just wanted to back up, Mr. Mayor, that
Here comes the washing machine.
we say after every budget season, we have multiple workshops where we get together and make sure that we're relaying to city staff what the goals and directives are of this council. But we put a lot of pressure on our city staff to present us with a great budget, and this is one that they've done a fantastic job. I thought last year's budget was really easy, even in a COVID year, but this one actually became even easier. But it does a great job of balancing city services as well as a tremendous amount of capital improvement and growth for the city. So preparing the city not just for this year, but years to come. So just wanted to thank staff as well as especially Mr. Madden for the work that's put into this behind all the closed doors that we don't always see. Certainly appreciate all of that. And this Abercrombie as well. Thank you for all your work in this budget. Shouldn't stop there. All city staff, it's certainly a testament to y'all's hard work to not only keep us under budget, but to present us with budgets that will continue to serve our citizens well. That's all I have, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Mr. Rhodes. Ms. King.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I don't think it was included in the mission, but I think what a lot of you want to know is what the financial impact is, which is $41 million would be the total of the budget for the upcoming year.
Thank you, Ms. King. Does anyone tell me, was there any millage increase?
No, sir.
No millage increase.
So there was no tax increase. And they balanced the budget.
Just for a couple of y'all in the audience tonight and whoever's listening, I would like to also clarify, Ms. Abercrombie can do a better job of this, or Mr. Madden, but starting in not this budget, but the budget that we're completing now as of June 30th, the reporting was different. So, the number seems to be a lot more than it's been in the years past, but that's not necessarily true. It's just a more financially physical, responsible way of reporting to where all the dollars are transparent. There's nothing wrong with the way it was reported prior to this budget, but this is just the preferred method. So even though 41 million is a lot more than the number y'all heard in the past, it's not as astronomical as you may think. So I'm sure any of us would talk to any of you afterwards if you have any questions, or Mr. Madden would be the expert on that. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Ms. King. Anyone else? Mr. Rose.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Mr. Madden, we plan to have this put onto the city website for residents to be able to take that.
The draft budget is on there now, but once council approves it, it should be updated and online no later than the end of this month. So hopefully by July 1st.
Thank you, Mr. Madden.
Anyone else? If not, there's a motion with a second on ordinance to provide the appropriation for fiscal year beginning July 1st, 2021 and ending June 30th, 2022, second reading. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, like sign. Hearing none, motion carries. Seven G.
The last ordinance for second reading is an ordinance establishing a sewer pump station fee for additional parcels of the Indigo Point development, creating a lien for unpaid sewer pump station fees and other matters related thereto.
Coming out of finance, Mr. Reynolds.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Layman's term, this is one where Indigo Point has had houses come online. With each year, we have to make sure that we're establishing the sewer pump station fee for each one of the new properties as they come online. So that was the public comment session we had before this. And so make a motion to establish a sewer pump station fee for additional parcels of Indigo Point development.
Thank you, Mr. Reynolds. Is there a second?
Second.
Second, Ms. King. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those on second reading, ordinance establishing sewer pump station fee for additional parcels of Indigo Point development, creating a lien for unpaid sewer pump station fees and other matters related thereto. Say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, like sign. Hearing none, motion carries. Thank you. New business, 8A.
This is the first ordinance for first reading. It's an ordinance to provide for the annexation of 0.83 acres of property owned by David M. Adams Sr. et al. And located at Fowler Circle near Ashmore Bridge Road by 100% petition method, and to establish the zoning classification of R15 residential. This is on the other side of Ashmore Bridge Road from the Maple Grove subdivision.
Mayor, move for approval of the annexation ordinance on first reading.
This was the amount of vote.
What? Right. Sorry about that, Mr. Guzman.
Okay, Ms. Guzman.
I'll pull back my motion to Ms. Guzman.
Thank you, Mr. Madden. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. At this time, I make a motion to approve this on first reading.
Motion, is there a second?
Sure.
Thank you, Mr. Madden. Any questions? Comments? Hearing none, all those in favor of the motion for first reading on ordinance to provide for annexation of 0.83 acres of property by David M. Adams Sr. located at Fowler Circle near Ashmore Bridge Road, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, like sign. Hearing none, the motion carries on first reading. E. Ms. Moore.
This ordinance is an ordinance to provide for the annexation of 0.5 acres of property owned by 807 Holland Road LLC and located at 807 Holland Road by 100% petition method, and to establish the zoning classification of testimony services for said property. This is the property that's next to the Grand Holland Estate, which is the old Brian Nicholas.
Thank you, Bill and Bill, Ms. Guzman.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. At this time, I will make a motion to approve this annexation at the property at 807 Pond Road and establish an S1 Trades and Commercial Services zoning on first reading.
Is there a second?
Second.
Second from Mr. Black. Any comment? One point of clarification, to be sure everybody understands this. In the process of the owners doing a survey of the property, they found out that they missed this 0.5 acre sliver down at the end of it. They did a survey and found out, whoops, we missed a half acre when we were annexed years ago into the city of Mauldin. So they're just saying they would like to have it all in, all out. So they've asked us to bring it all in. So that's why the little half acre is there on that, on Hollow Road. That's what. Any other comment? Hearing none, all those in favor of first reading ordinance to provide the annexation of 0.5 acres of property owned by 807 Hollow Road, say aye.
Aye.
Any those opposed, like sign. Hearing none, motion carries. Ms. Miller.
Next is an ordinance to provide for the annexation of a 10-foot wide strip of property owned by Sphinx Investments Incorporated and located at 549 East Standing Springs Road by 100% petition method. And this is at the Sphinx gas station on East Standing Springs Road.
Ms. Kuzma.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. At this time, I'll make a motion to annex this property in this 10-foot strip at 549 East Standing Springs Road on first reading.
Is there a second?
Second.
Second, Ms. King, any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor of first reading ordinance by the annexation of a 10-foot wide strip of property owned by Sphinx Investment and located on 549 East Anderson Road, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, like sign. Hearing none, motion is unanimous. E.
This is an ordinance to provide for the annexation of 8.23 acres of property owned by the city of Mauldin and located at 700 East Standing Springs Road by 100% petition method, and to establish the zoning classification of S1 services for said property. And this is the property that's the old Chevrolet dealership on East Standing Springs Road.
Being a Chevy, then it's actually a Ford. Hey,
Yeah, I think it is Ford.
Okay, Ford, old Ford dealership.
okay, Ms. Guzzo.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. This is going to be the Public Works facility. And at this time, I'll make a motion to annex this piece of property in to the city on first reading.
Second. I have a second, Mr. Mattney. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor of the ordinance on first reading for provide for the annexation of 8.23 acres of property owned by the city of Mauldin on 700 East Standing Springs Road and establish zoning classification S1 services, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, like sign. Hearing none, motion carries on first reading. E.
Next is an ordinance authorizing the execution and delivery of documents related to the provision of municipal facilities, consenting to and approving the issuance of not exceeding $6.5 million Mauldin Public Facilities Corporation installment purchase revenue bonds, Series 2021, by the Mauldin Public Facilities Corporation to provide funding to finance the costs of acquiring, constructing, equipping, and installing various municipal facilities, consenting to and approving the execution of a base lease agreement by and between the city and the corporation, consenting to and approving the execution of a municipal facilities purchase and occupancy agreement relating thereto by and between the city and the corporation, consenting to the form of a trust agreement to be entered into by the corporation and the trustee for the bonds, and together therewith an assignment to the trustee of certain rights to payment and other rights of the corporation under the facilities agreement, and making provision for all other matters relating to the foregoing.
Thank you. This is coming from finance, Mr. Rose.
Thank you, Mayor. As part of the FY 2022 budget that we just voted on terms, putting out a bond to $6.5 million bond to help pay for everything personally to that fund, so, or to that fire department. So I'd like to make a motion that we adopt on first reading, an approval to an ordinance authorizing the execution and delivery of documents relating to the provision of all municipal facilities. Or can I just so move for this? Ms. Miller just read.
We need you to state that, it's not to be.
Not to exceed, thank you, Mr. Mayor, not to exceed $6.5 million for the Mauldin Public Works Facilities Corporation installment purchase revenue bonds, series 2021.
Thank you, Mr. Reynolds. Is there a second?
Second.
And a second, Ms. King. Any discussion, questions? Ms. King.
I'm sorry, I can't help myself. So for, again, clarification, the issuance of bond is not to exceed $6.5 million. As most of you know, the building costs have gone up extremely over the last 12 months. We are starting to see some of that trending down. So the not to exceed is to allow us to go up for a bond not to exceed the 6.5. That doesn't necessarily mean that we will spend that amount of money. We may, but that may not be the case. So just felt it was prudent to say that, Mr. Chair and Mr. Mayor. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. King. Any other discussion? I think it's an exciting time. This west side is desperately in need of representation from our fire department and our police department without having to cross 8, 9, 10 lanes of traffic out here. If you've ever watched the big red truck go through the intersection, hold your breath the whole time. But, this would give us west side representation with the growth we have down Ashmore Bridge Road and Fowler Circle and out on Fort Church Road. So it's exciting time to see that. So let's hope we get it for less than that. At least we're prepared to say the words again. So any other discussion? Here none, all those in favor of ordinance on first reading authorizing the execution and delivery of the documents related to the provision of municipal facility not to exceed $6.5 million of Mauldin. Say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, like sign. Did I hear you? Motion carried. I was just gonna say the wording of this seemed like it came from our attorney, Mr. Newton. It reads as if it was an attorney. Thank you. Next item is standing committee items. Resolution, economic development, Mr. Manager.
Yay, me. Mayor, I move that we adopt a resolution approving a development agreement with Parker Group Development LLC for the construction of a portion of the city center project and to authorize the mayor, that's you, to execute the development agreement.
I have a motion. There's a second from Mr. Reynolds. Is there any discussion or cheerleading or hallelujah chorus? Come on, somebody. All right, so I have a motion to approve a resolution approving a development agreement with the Parker Group Development for the portion of the city center project and to authorize me to sign the documents related to the development agreement. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed, like sign.
Did we get a second?
Mr. Leonard.
Okay, you missed that. Thank you.
I'm sorry.
Aye.
Got it, okay. Thank you, Ms. King.
Not
Okay, Chief. Oh, I'm sorry, look at the last standing committee that would come from Mr. Matney, 2 in a row.
That's right, Mayor, and because there's some legal questions with this one, I'm going to move that we recommit this back to EPD committee.
Okay, Mr. Matney makes a motion to recommit back to the EPD committee. Is there a second?
Second.
And I have a second from Mr. Craven. Any discussion? All those in favor of the motion to recommit coastal lease rental agreements and rules back to the EPD committee, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, like sign. Hearing none, none, motion carries. Okay, appointments to West Carolina Building Development. Ms. Keith.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. At our last committee meeting, we were able to interview the applicants for 2 seats on the planning commission and 2 seats on the zoning board of appeals. And at this time, I'm going to make a motion to approve these.
Okay, I have a motion. I believe we're going to do that by ballot. Everybody have a ballot in front of them. So everybody, I think I would just check off their street plans there and to the planning commission. So that we wouldn't be, motion is just to consider the appointments of that. Comment from me. I applaud the committee and staff for the development of the process where we are actually now, and you fill out an application for either one of these 2, that you fill out the application and then you're actually interviewed by the EPD committee and answer the questions and that type of thing. There's two on here. The zoning board is a quasi-legal board. So you should have some expertise as to the codes, the ordinances, histories, professional training to allow you to know our ordinance, our codes, and to make a ruling based on that if you make an exception to that. Because once this board approves it, it goes to the courts. Council cannot override the board, that thing. So just be sure we consider fully the qualifications that is exceeded by those of your committee and on the paperwork before you put a person on the zoning board. Planning Commission also is very instrumental in knowing our ordinances and work with David on understanding them. Some of them are one-liners and some of them are page after page type things. So David does a good job of bringing the educational process along there. You learn a lot by serving on the Planning Commission. And to me, it just looks like you learn enough from the Planning Commission. One day you can step up to the zoning board. We can go there first. So that's just kind of my reaching to the choir here, because we've all been part of it. And I'd ask you to now just submit your ballots, and Miller will collect them and report back to us in a matter of minutes. Yeah, okay.
You have appointed William Parks and Joe Centel to the zoning board, and Caitlin Woolard and Charles Barefoot to the planning commission.
All right, good, thank you. Good, with the results? Well, not with the results, but I think that's what is already relates to that.
I'm sorry.
You're good.
I'm good.
All right, good, sorry.
Good, thank you.
Okay,
Well, I guess I should say there were actually 4 open seats on the zoning board of appeals. So we have the 2 applicants.
so that gives us five for the 7 seats. And the zoning committee, before staff now also.
Planning Commission is full
Planning
staff.
Commission, sorry. Planning Commission is good, all right. Thank you, Ms. Susan. Trash and recycling is coming from Public Works, Mr. Traylor.
Yes. At this time, I would like to make a motion that the council approve the trash recycling and receptacle policy located in this book, pages 39 to 341.
We have a motion to approve the policy and procedure manual of trash and recycling receptacles. Is there a second?
Second.
Second, Ms. King. Is there any discussion?
Yes.
Mr. Craig?
This was due to some confusion by several citizens here in Mauldin as to what gets fixed, what gets, how to replace the trash cans. That I reached out to the Public Works Department. They came up with this policy. And so basically they know that they can come to the Public Works Department. They have something broke. If they can fix it, if they can do something for the citizen, they will. But if not, here's the price that they're gonna have to pay to replace it. Also to avoid some confusion too, the price, I believe the trash cans is $65 located here. It costs the city approximately $100. So we're not pushing to sell these. We've tried to repair them. It's better for all involved. But sometimes things aren't repairable, and we do give a discount to the citizens. Thank you.
Mr. Craig? Anyone else?
Just clarification, Mr. Mayor.
Mr. Rose?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Just clarification, there was no policy before this, so it was just done as a cane basis, so this is getting static with original, how we should handle these items. That's all I have, Mr. Mayor. Thank you.
Mr. Reynolds? Anyone else? I would ask us to look at page 340 under section 2 policy. There was a situation that came up a year or two ago as far as the wording on including townhomes, condominium duplexes, and all apartment complexes, less than 9 units. And the less than 9 units, there was a discussion, did it only apply to apartment complexes? Did it also apply to duplexes and condominiums and townhomes? So is that clear enough from our standpoint that you fully understand it? I guess I'm understanding that it applies to all of multi-residential housing and townhomes, condos, duplexes, and apartments with less than 9 units. Is that correct, or is it only apartments?
No, Mayor, members of council, it applies to all. If it's helpful, we could put a sentence in there right after that that says this applies to all, including townhomes, apartments. That way it's clear.
I would like to see it be clear because I know part of that discussion last year was an argument as to did it apply or did it not apply, and someone took an opposite opinion. I'm just trying to get it laid out enough that y'all know how to fully implement it and not require legal assistance in the future.
If it's the will of council, once you approve the policy, you can approve it to be amended to include that language.
You can amend the motions to make the changes there.
At this time, I'd like to amend the motion to include the change as discussed here in chamber.
Mr. Craig makes a motion to approve the wording to amend it to make it clear as it's stated on page 340. Is there a second?
Second.
Second, Mr. Reynolds. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor of the amendment to change the wording to clarify the policy in section 2 under the application of 9 units, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, like sign. Hearing none, the amendment passes. We're back to the original proposal of the policy and procedure manual. You know how page 341, section 3, the purchase receptacles, the word it doesn't really need to be there. Delete the word it. Purchase receptacles will be delivered by purchase receptacles, it will be delivered. It's going to be it out. I get it. Clear. My whole press English teacher would be so proud of me. All right. Motion before us from Mr. Cradle, second by Ms. King, to approve the policy and procedure manual. Titled trash and recycling receptacles. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, like sign. Hearing none, the motion as amended carries. Okay, web portal is public. Thank you, Ms. King.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. One more. What you want?
Oh, sorry. I apologize. I may not have that one on there.
Okay.
I apologize.
That's okay. So what you have in front of you is the web portal state contract, which allows our court system to accept credit card payments. And it makes it convenient for those who would like to pay their court bonds via credit card or debit card. We have to review this contract on an annual basis. If passed tonight, the contract would take us through July of 2022. So I'll make a motion to renew the web portal state contract.
Motion to renew, is there a second?
Second.
Great, any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor of the motion to approve the web portal state contract, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, like sign. Hearing none, the motion carries. Back to you, Ms. King.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. We have another contract that needs approval tonight for, with the South Carolina School of Deaf and Blind. What this contract does is allows us to use as needed these services, which are charged at an hourly rate. Would make the motion, and again, this is another annual contract that we have for renewal. So the motion will be made to approve the South Carolina School for the Deaf and Blind terms of their service contract.
Motion from Ms. King, is there a second?
Second.
Second from Mr. Matney, Ms. Kuzner. Any discussion?
Mr. Mayor,
Yes, Ms.
if I could add and clarify that we're only charged if we use these services. So it's needed as needed basis, but we're only charged once when we have to use it.
All those in favor of the motion to approve the renewal of the contract with South Carolina School for the Deaf and Blind contract, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, like sign. And the motion carries. Next item, Ms. King.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. This is not a contract, this is a resolution authorizing the execution of animal care service agreement. With Public Works moving, well, who knows, spread out across the city, we do go under over on Jenkins. So our animal care services where we shelter dogs that are picked up in the city is over at Jenkins Street. Well, that will soon be moved to the new location for Public Works. This is an idea that's been talked about for, I would say, probably going on a year now. But with Jenkins Street going away, committee voted unanimously to send this to council tonight for approval to basically have an agreement with Greenville County for any dogs that we pick up within the city to be transported to Greenville County and held at the county versus being held in the city. The cost with the county is $100 per dog or cat that is delivered. The funding has been budgeted. We feel like there will not be really a fiscal impact because we're doing away with our kennels here. So we'll no longer have the liability associated with that, nor the cost of feeding the dogs and housing the dogs and the cats. So again, it came out of committee unanimously, and I would make a motion to pass the resolution authorizing execution of animal care service agreement with Greenville County.
We have a motion, Ms. King, is there a second?
Second.
Second, Mr. Prater, is there discussion? Mr. Reynolds.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Yeah, no, I don't have a problem doing this in the short term, but I don't, as I think about the long term, I don't like a city president. On a 25-minute ride, I think, to the county facility. You know, as I look at when we work on the Public Works facility, it'd be a good time to look at the opportunity if there's a place over there to stick a kennel or do something like it. Certainly, I'm doing this in the short term because we do have a lot of moving parts. But I don't know that like a long-term solution of housing all dogs over there The other thing I would say to that is if we're going to pay a per dog fee and owner to pay that fee, so I'm concerned over long term having the city pay for that on a per dog basis. So just thoughts as we move forward with it. I'm going to probably approve it tonight in the interim. And that's all I have. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Mr. Reynolds. I would just like to add that, our staff will make every effort to locate the owner of the dog prior to transporting that dog to the county. I think it's also worth noting that we have a lot of, for lack of a better word, and still Chief Miller's saying a lot of frequent flyers. So we have a lot of repeat pickups of animals. And even with that, the numbers aren't that large. So I'm comfortable with this agreement, knowing that staff may already recognize the dog and already know where the home is. So we'll make every effort to locate that dog back at their residence prior to transport. If that gives you a little bit of a more of a comfort level there.
Mayor, I think Mr. Black had a comment.
Black.
Mr. Black, could you unmute your
Yes, sir.
okay.
Back, you have a comment on the motion for the resolution of the service agreement with Graham County?
No comment.
No comment, okay, I'm sorry. Anyone else? And then we have a motion for, to approve the resolution, approving the service agreement with Graham County to provide shelter, food, and care for stray animals. And authorize the mayor to execute. All those favors say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, like sign. Hearing none, the motion carries 7-0. Next item comes before us as committee of the whole. I would ask council consideration of the informal method. Mr. Reynolds makes a motion to enter to consider next item as an informal method. Is there a second?
Second.
Second, Ms. King. Any discussion? All those in favor of the informal method for item M, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, like sign. Hearing none, we will consider the next item informally. That, I guess, Mr. Reynolds, that was your request. So that's what I do.
Sure, Mr. Mayor, thank you, and thank you to my colleagues for considering this. The Forest Woods Homeowners Association is requesting city council approval of a permit on the special fireworks display for July 4th. I'd like to make a motion to approve that permit.
Okay, motion, Mr. Reynolds, for approval of the permit for fireworks display permit for HOA at Forest Woods. Okay. Is there a second?
Second.
Second, Ms. King. Is there any discussion? Mr. Matt.
Go, Ms. King first.
Your seat first. One.
I just needed to clarify that we do not have a permit in hand at the time we were given our packets on Friday, so I'm not sure if we currently have a permit. So, the recommendation is to allow, I think, staff to move forward, if council approves of such.
Correct.
Once all the paperwork is submitted, insurance documentation, et cetera.
Correct. So in order to have the permit, you would have to have that documentation either way, correct?
Yes, and just to
I'll be clear, so this is not an ordinance. I had to call Mr. Madden and say, what do we do here?
yeah, and since the agenda has been published, Ms. Greco from the HOA at Forester Woods has provided a formal letter requesting it, referencing the insurance requirements that they've obtained. So staff can verify that should council give approval of the permit. Staff will verify it, make sure the whole harmless form is executed and on file should council want to proceed.
That includes insurance.
The insurance, we'll verify the insurance as well.
A couple of questions, Mayor. Has legal counsel thoroughly vetted and approved the hold harmless agreement? And this really goes for Chief. Chief, you good?
But like I said, we'll have to go through and inspect it and all that prior to.
Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. How often are permits issued to HOAs for fireworks?
They're really not. Right now, the ordinance only allows for a special permit via council approval. So really, they're not. I don't think I've approved one, or one has been approved in the last 2 or 3 years.
I know that there, by ordinance, you can't shoot off fireworks in the city. I guess without the special permit, they do it anyway, which causes me concern that people won't know that this HOA got a permit, and they say, well, they're doing it, we'll do it too. I think my other question is the fire department going to monitor fireworks, or do you just go and?
They will utilize it, should have a pyrotech company's gonna come in and do it. And like I said, we'll have to inspect it and all that prior to them shooting fireworks off.
Chief,
Okay,
if
that was
you
my
could come to
question,
the
was
podium.
it just someone at the HOA, or would it be a pyrotech company?
Yeah, Ms. Kuznar the chief's gonna repeat it for the viewers online so that they can hear his response.
Thank you.
Yes, they will have to get to the pyrotech company who's gonna do them. They'll have to go through our fire marshal and all that, will go through and make sure they're up to code and all that before they be able to shoot fireworks.
Thank you.
Right.
That's all I had.
Thank you, Ms. Cooper. So as I understand it, it has to be a licensed pyrotechnic company to fire off these fireworks.
I would say so.
That's correct, and only the insured party can shoot the fireworks. So whoever's applying, in this case, it would be the HOA. Only their insured party can shoot the fireworks per the city's ordinance.
So their pyrotechnic person would have to be on that insurance.
Yeah, their insured policy, either as an added insured or that pyrotechnic firm, a group, or whoever they're using. Staff is going to take every precaution that the city can take to make sure it's not a liability, even though the city would be executing a whole harmless form and would not be liable. From a public safety standpoint, the city police department and fire department will make sure as much as they can that everything is in line should council approve this group shooting fireworks.
Mr. President.
My only, I guess, is more of a suggestion. Because a lot of people have animals. I can't think of any horses. I've actually spent up at night with a horse who freaked out with a fence. Notifying people in the area, even if it's putting it on a webpage or to their HOA or something, so people are aware this is going to happen. Because a lot of animals freak out over fireworks. They're not knowing it's coming. It'd just be good to let people know it's going to happen.
Our legal counsel like to weigh in.
Yes, if I could, John, before you start, can I make sure you have the handheld microphone so the folks that are online can hear you?
Mr. Mayor and Council, there are 2 items. Number one, I want to be sure the city is insured on the $1 million liability policy that this body is requiring. And the second thing is, to answer Mr. Matney, I have not personally seen the form for indemnification. I do not know if Daniel or my partner has, but if not, I just need to get that and make sure we're comfortable with the work. That's all I have.
Thank you, sir. And you'll be sure to get him a copy of that.
Yeah, all legal documents, we run through John's shop before being executed. So this would not be an exception.
Thank you, sir. Any other questions? Everybody feel comfortable?
Just comment, just to the council, this request came middle of last week, so frankly, being unfamiliar with this process was something we were trying to gather together at the last minute. So I think what we're requesting though is just to have the ability to do the permit. If the homeowners association doesn't follow through with all that they've said they would do, then certainly the permit would not be given by staff. So I appreciate all the concerns and thank council for considering that.
So the motion, if I understand it correctly, if I don't, Mr. Reynolds, the motion would be to approve the permit fireworks display permit for the Forestry Woods HOA route contingent upon the completion of all required legal paperwork, documentation, and requirements as the
Ordinance requirements. Yes, Mr. Mayor.
Is that?
Yes, Mr. Mayor.
That's the word. Okay, good. Okay. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, like sign. Hearing none, the motion carries. Thank you, council. Looking at the agenda. We are back to public comment. Again, this is the second area of public comment. It does not have to be any item that was on the agenda. It's for any citizen or business owner in the city of Mauldin that would have a topic of discussion to bring before us for this council to hear. We always welcome that input. Again, I'll say direct your comments to the chair, that's me. It is not a dialogue. Council will not be engaging in a dialogue or a comment, a give and take with you if you would, I think, and please do not make personal attacks on anyone in this council chamber tonight. With that being said, it's been a long time, so we have 3 minutes. Mr. Kirkland, you would come to the podium, state your name and address, and you have 3 minutes, sir.
Man, the public microphone, this one don't work.
It works. It works. No.
I'm gonna tell you something. This one don't work by the next meeting.
No.
I'm gonna take a case against the city and you. That don't, there's people listening string at home right now, and they can't hear me. This one work. Dean Dexter Kirkland, Hebrew Daniel Victor Kirkland. Well, yeah. Well, it's a busy night. Last time I was here, I wore a different outfit because Chief Miller said I looked good in it. I said, well, I think the military one intimidates. So I already went 4945350 sport new. Now, man, that's a beautiful prayer you may want to go. You said we're supposed to love each other. Bible says love each other with love ourselves, right? Is that true? Well, you can't answer me. Well, why did you vote? Why did y'all vote for Daniel to resign? Don't answer that. Now, let's see what's next. What do I got on there? By the way, next month's list is going to be longer than this one.
You got Dugan, chief position, Black Lives Matter, Brian Turner, alcohol and park, and street closing.
Lindsay Grant. Well, my sister today said, Dean, you slurring your speech and your medicine ain't working. Well, I went to Peace Medical Center. They didn't find nothing wrong with it. I went to Great Gringo. They said, something wrong with your sister. There ain't nothing wrong with you. They tried to get me picked up last week and put away from me. That ain't the first time. See, the Bible says if God be for you, who could be against you? And and one man, and God is a majority. And how about Elijah and then 450 prophets? Now, I'm a little confused. That's your three councilmen, and the mayor trusting that lawyer with your bankroll on August the 2nd. But we'll see. Okay, what's next?
Black Lives Matter.
Yeah. Whose news media here tonight? Are they gone? Somebody said it was here. Are you it? Must know that. Fox News told me it was gonna be here tonight. I don't know, maybe they called him, somebody said, well, he's crazy. You don't waste your time coming down here. Maybe it'll be here next month. But anyway, you get the word to the White Lives Matter people. Stay the hell out of the city of Mauldin, especially you that don't live here. Your damn opinions don't count. I'm sorry. Their opinion does not count in the city of Mauldin. Okay, next. Brian Turner and Dr. Mattia and my son Scott, I've already checked with legal counsel. I'm suing them for conspiracy, kidnapping, and false arrest, and they say they may be some more. They picked me up and put me in a mental hospital because I called Chief Turner and said he was in this mess that did it look like it's gonna cost me a job. Well, he was dying the next week. Very convenient for it. Next.
Alcohol in the park.
Oh, I understand from the chief, I can make a motion from the floor. I'm gonna make 3 tonight. I make a motion, we put it back out the park. You like that, Dan? Anyway, number 2, I'm making a motion about this road coming through that Renee Sherbert's against and Joel down at the market. I'm making a motion, we stop Lindsey Grant. Hey, I ran for the House of Representatives.
Mr. Kirkland, if you'll kind of encapsulate and close, please, through your time.
I got 3 minutes at
And you have used all 3 minutes, so.
I have.
Yep. Present
Oh,
closing-
no, I don't get 3 minutes on each one.
No, sir, you get 3 minutes public comment.
Well, I misunderstood. By the way, you know how you stared at me last time? I didn't know you couldn't come. I apologize.
Not a problem.
I didn't mean, I couldn't figure it out, and of course, he's straightened out, all right?
Thank you, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay, we are to council concerns.
You have one more gentleman.
Oh, did I miss?
No, you just didn't get a chance to sign it.
By rule, if you're not signed in when this is picked up, we can't add to it.
I didn't see the chief, sir. That's all of us. I was here before, actually, as you came down.
Okay, council, objection, understanding the rules. Okay, please, sir, come on up, state your name and your address. We'll do the same 3 minutes. Not sign. 3 minutes also.
Thanks, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Council. My name is Renee Miller, resident of 10 Stetson Court here in the city. I'm here today as a representative of thank you, Council, for hearing me, first of all, but as a representative of the residents of Hill Lane. Ladies and gentlemen, we have a serious speeding problem in our subdivision. And I've talked to the administrator about this maybe a month or so ago, and after 10 years, our problem seems to be getting worse. We requested speed bumps several years, and we're not getting anywhere. And for some unknown reason, there's no answer for why we can't seem to get speed bumps, and it's the problem that just seems to not go away. After multiple requests for assistance, after talking with the city, I've been advised to actually talk with Chief Miller, which I've not done so yet. After speed monitors, after a police officer comes to the subdivision and parking in the subdivision after police officers patrolling the subdivision, still, the problem, still will not go away. And so the residents of Hill Place would like to know what are the rules and what are the policies regarding, speed bumps. Some folks say that we have to have 8% residential approval. And someone else said maybe, that we have to have, because we were not a drive-through community, meaning a community where people drive through from another community, then only then would we be authorized to have speed bumps. But our community isn't a drive-through, so it's a dead end basically. But we have 4 cul-de-sacs from what I understand. And so we'd like to know, again, what are the rules, and can the rules be, if the rules aren't working, can they be amended? What are the policy, and if they're not working, policies aren't working, can they be changed? We understand that we're asking that we at least have 1 speed bump. We're asking for 3, but if we could just have 1, where when people come around the curve at a high rate of speed, that 1 speed bump at the top of the subdivision will slow everybody down coming from any direction. And so that at least we've got something. We're asking for 3, but we can't get 3. We're at least asking for 1. And after speaking with I believe the administrative, some of the people that speak in our community are actually they live actually in our community, but we don't know what to do because the bottom of our subdivision is not actually a part of the HOA. Maybe there's 8 houses there down there at the very bottom, and we only have 80 homes there. Well, actually 88, but the last 8 aren't ours, aren't in the subdivision, aren't in the HOA. So even without the HOA, man, director, or whatever the term we used back then, president, I couldn't communicate with those people. I couldn't let us on everybody's doors, but still, these people don't seem to understand anything other than, in fact, we move the police department into our community. But whatever it takes, with our members and residents are asking, can anything be done? If we can't get 3 speed bumps, can we at least get 1 at the very top? If that's a problem budget-wise, then I don't think that with the community, we have a problem paying for it, but the road belongs to the city. So we're wanting to know what can be done and if there's anything that can be done, and just where do we go from here? Because we've asked for several years, and when we have 6% renters, actually 7% renters, and the other members, I'm out of town. The others, the people that are renters don't care for the community and the children, like the people that actually live their home are actually homeowners. So we have no idea where to go, and most of us, I believe 90% of us here, the other ones, they just gotta do what they can do, and having a police officer sit there for 2 weeks, and they get used to him sitting there, and then before he leaves, they speed up. So we're asking for support.
Mayor, if it's okay, Interim Chief Miller will get with you before you leave, kind of walk you through the process, provide you with the actual policy in the way that you can start having that conversation through the city's policy. So if you will take a couple minutes before you leave, and Chief Miller will get with you.
Okay, fantastic. Thank you for giving me the opportunity to speak, even though it's all the next time I will.
Thank you, sir. That's, appreciate you being here and sharing with us.
Thanks so much.
Thank you. Now we're back to council concerns and Mauldin. Hearing none, the pleasure of council on adjournment. So moved. Is there a second?
Second.
Second, Ms. King. All those in favor, adjournment, say aye.
Aye.
We are adjourned. Yes. Clock is 8:49.